You are listening to an all-new episode of the Model Experience podcast, live from the Model House.
The Model Experience is the #1 resource for models. Real models, real stories, real resources.
Visit themodelexperience.net to learn more and be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Model Experience.
Hello world, we are here and we made it.
Hey models.
We are here live at the Model House for our first ever Model Experience podcast. Let's show some love.
You better show some love. Come on.
So paint the picture for me. Show them what we're working with.
All right, so let's talk. We are 17 stories high right now, rooftop. We have floor-to-ceiling windows with a 360 view of downtown Los Angeles.
That's right. We even got a cabana boy. That's how bougie we are. Say hey to Chris. Thank you.
What's up, Chris?
Thank you for the most. It is the real deal in downtown LA, and we are so excited to be here today.
Blessed.
Yes. Before we get started, I want to introduce our hosts. America's Next Top Model, Controversy Queen, Most Hated, Never Duplicated, our very own runway coach. Give it up for Miss Rio Summers.
What's up, guys?
What's good? Woo!
You know, I know a thing or two about controversy, being loved, being hated. We also have somebody here who might know a thing or two.
I know a thing or two. You know, I may be America's sweetheart, but I can ruffle a few feathers as well. I ain't afraid.
You may recognize Deandra Barnwell from a show on E called So Cosmo. If not, you've seen her face on some kind of billboard or ad somewhere. But, you know, Little Dove, Garnier.
I've done a few things.
She might have even been the nice girl taking care of you in the bathroom.
Listen, that's true. That's true. Speaking of doing lots of things, the beautiful young woman to my left, Miss LaMyias Good, signed with L.A. Reid, actress. You may know her as your big sis from Round the Way. Yes. She's a women's advocate. She's a philanthropist. She with her sister Megan Good. Let's see, and she's my sister most recently from the Platinum Life. Right. Give it up for LaMyias. How's it going?
We're so happy to have you.
So happy to have you. And we cannot forget our beautiful founder, the boss lady herself, Miss Ashley Covarrubias.
Yes. She get things done.
Shout out to me.
The woman putting out all the fires.
Exactly.
I'm the fire woman.
Right? Oh, we're going to get into that, girl. We're going to get into that. Ash.
My team's on it. Don't worry. So the true reason why we've started this is really to be a pioneer and create a resource for models. A lot of the people that we work with are unsigned. They're just getting started. And after they listen to this podcast, they're really going to have the tools and the resources and just kind of, I want people to feel informed and know what the fuck's going on.
It is a true VIP all access pass to what goes on behind the scenes. Because I feel like, you know, in the modeling industry or even on TV, you get to see the glitz and glam. But you don't see actually the building blocks and the foundation it takes to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
I always say a big part of being a model is making it look like it's glamorous.
Exactly.
Right.
Ooh,
then you're doing your job.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part of the job.
It is.
But behind the scenes, you got to know the truth. You got to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of behind the scenes, I'm gonna just go ahead and go off script here for a minute. So LaMyias, tell us more. Your experience on camera, off camera. I know you've transitioned a little bit more into the producer role lately. Yes. You were on the Platinum Life. You've been in a few movies. I mean, we ran through your credits earlier, but tell me about the transition to behind the camera. What do you take with you?
It's funny because in front of the camera, oftentimes when I've worked with directors that have also been actors, I noticed that I work really well with them because they understand how to communicate with me. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the major things I feel like I've taken from my in front of the camera to behind the camera toolbox. I feel like I really have a way to communicate in a way that makes them feel understood, but also brings out the best in them. I feel like when you feel like you're understood in front of the camera, you're going to give your best performance.
True.
And I've learned that in producing, it's interesting because it's like you're facilitating the whole time. You're just trying to make the process easier. Sure. And so it's so interesting because in front of the camera, everybody's just looking at you, trying to make sure you're comfortable. And so, it's
all the hard work.
Yeah, but that's what I enjoy. I think for me and Rio were talking earlier, and she was saying, for me, she doesn't think like it would be a challenge enough. And I absolutely feel like in front of the camera is just part of it. That's just a creative expression. Sure. But behind the scenes is where you really make your contribution, I feel, to making the change that you want to see. You know?
So true.
And I find like that's where I'm really doing the groundwork. That's where I'm really, digging my heels in. You know,
when we met on set, you were doing the groundwork.
Yes.
Just a little backstory.
Tell them where you met.
Literally, yes.
Tell them where you met. It's a dope story.
We met on set. Adrienne Bailon and her husband were filming a music video. Your sister was directing.
Yes.
And I just kind of peeked in, check out my crew, make sure everyone was good, and obviously some chemistry. But I saw you just kind of putting shit together, and it was really
grabbing the situation by the ball.
To interject, I remember getting the call. Ashley goes, "I'm here on set. It's the dopest set, and I think I found our producer for the show."
Oh my gosh!
She's like, "I can't wait for you to meet her. We got the girl that's gonna run the backstage." I was like, "Praise
That's
Jesus."
amazing.
And it was LaMyias.
And now you know what? That was all God too, because I feel like
was.
in that short amount of time, I ended up with 3 other gigs. Production-wise, which was insane. Yeah. But it was really inspiring to me, especially knowing what you've built and the heart that you have to give people an opportunity and to learn how to kind of go with the current times and create your own portfolio, create your own opportunities. So for me, I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. She's really doing the damn thing, and I would love to be a part of it. And that was a whole nother experience, though.
Yeah.
Okay, why did y'all tell me 400-something models? That was insane.
So she walks in.
It was insane. And I honestly, a couple times grabbed my throat, like, how am I going to be able to handle all these people? Then all the makeup. And it was definitely like.
You contributed backstage.
Well, you know what? I just said, fuck it. I got to do, excuse my language. But, that's the attitude. I got to do what I know that I came here to do and what I've been blessed to do, and to organize and to just help you get the job done. Help you guys get the job done,
I think as a model, if you can understand or grasp that people are spending thousands of dollars an hour, hundreds of dollars a minute,
do your part.
I think it really changes the way, that you might perform. So if you can kind of go into a job knowing that, I feel like, you can take it to the next level.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So today's show is super special. Not only is it our first, we have some amazing guests. As you know, LaMyias Good is here. We also have Don Benjamin swinging by a little bit.
He's got some knowledge on this.
Yes, for sure. But we just kind of want to kick off with current events.
Exactly.
Hot topic.
So speaking of that all-access VIP pass, did you guys peep the Victoria's Secret show? I mean, I know it hasn't aired yet, but we got little snippets on Instagram.
Yeah,
did you guys
the
see
pictures.
those?
Yeah, I saw Winnie.
Sure. Yeah.
Winnie
Marlowe.
It was Adriana Lima's last show after like 20 years.
How old is she now, I wonder?
She's perfect, so who cares?
Right,
Like, you know what I mean?
How old is she?
Timeless?
Yes, she's ageless, and
she's
Kendall Jenner.
retiring. What? She looks 12.
I know, I know.
After 20 years.
Passing that baton, girl. We got the Kendalls, the Gigi's, the
Kendall is
Bellas.
gorgeous. I just love her.
Yeah.
I saw her
too.
Instagram pictures and I was like,
stunning.
Okay, somebody's been working out to
love,
take care of themselves.
Right. Her little natural vibe. Like, I love it that she just chose to do her. She's
Me
like,
too.
Forget fitting in the box. This is me, my
Totally.
long legs, and she made it work. She capitalized off it, and she did.
Go Kendall.
She comes from a rich family, but you know what? I will say she has work ethic.
She works for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to respect that.
Yeah, you do.
And speaking of Victoria's Secret, did you guys read the article that Vogue.com published about Ed Razek, the marketing executive over at Victoria's Secret? He's just giving his real honest opinion about hiring transgender models, and he says
transgender models should not walk their show because it's fantasy, and then he goes into explaining why they don't use plus size models as well.
Okay, well, let's bring back fantasy is subjective.
Sure.
Totally. Your fantasy.
So, bro, just because you're a fantasy, like that's crazy to me. And with where the world is at, and you're having New York Fashion Week, Chromat, and all these other really, really diverse, shows and stuff, you got to give the times, bro.
Girl, I was at the Blondes, and let me tell
crazy.
you, the amount of diversity. We have Patrick Starr walking in a fashion show with Paris Hilton next to.
So it's interesting that he would say that.
It's wild.
He's also a 70-year-old male, if that changes.
Right. Well,
that changes everything.
Well, Grams. I mean, I feel like that's an issue. Like, at the end of the day, we are a progressive culture, and you got to get with the times,
Get
bro.
with the times.
Right.
Yeah, like,
Right.
who are you to say?
Speaking of time,
Like, hello, Trump. What are you?
Ew.
Over here trying to. Like,
About to get into that too.
Speaking of bad timing, do you guys feel like this is going to affect viewership? I know the Victoria's Secret show comes out this December. I wonder if our listeners are still going to tune in.
Well, guys, we should actually do a poll on IG. Let us know
Yeah.
if this comment from this man is going to affect whether
I
or
don't
not you're
think
going to
so.
tune in.
I
don't
it's gonna
either.
make it more popular.
I
to be
think
honest.
I think that people, we don't stand up for what we believe in. We don't show up the way that we should. You know, I feel like we're getting better, but in a lot of ways, people will talk about what they don't like all day long, but you're not doing anything to change it.
Right.
So it's like one of those things where if you're going to talk about Kanye, but you're still wearing the Yeezys,
Right.
shut the fuck up.
Right. Same thing with
Period.
politics. I
It's
think it was
like-
like only 30% of millennials showed up to the polls. I mean, you know, it's an increase, but we got to do better because we'll be the first ones to
Right,
be
and
like,
it's-
oh, I don't like this, I don't like that.
And it's not that we're not
Right.
acknowledging that, yes, there
Right.
has to start somewhere. But if you want my honest opinion, do I feel like people are not going to watch the show because they are offended? No, they're not. It's like
agree.
You don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's that old
love that.
saying, and I just feel like, you know, but that's a part of why we do what we do. You know what I mean? It's like showing up for something that we believe in, trying to help others, and just being there. And I'm just like, bruh, y'all gonna watch the show.
Exactly.
Let's just leave it at that.
Right. Right.
So are you going to watch the show?
I'm not. I'm cool. I mean, I wasn't gonna watch it anyways, but like
I
I cut
wait
all
for
my
IG.
sneak peeks on IG.
Right. I wait for IG highlights,
Right.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then I could just erase all the parts that just get to the good parts. Go to Kendall's page. Whitney's
Exactly.
page.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Go creep Bella real quick.
Right. Yes.
My real friend Winnie.
Exactly.
You know what? Congratulations to Winnie Harlow.
Yeah.
Because she's another person that came off America's Next Top Model, and I understand
Wow.
how difficult it is to transition from that show
Yeah.
into like a successful career where people are taking you very, very seriously. And so for her to be walking Victoria's Secret is like
incredible.
The odds were stacked
sure.
against her.
for
and
sure. For sure.
Wow.
I have so much respect
Yeah.
after like seeing her, and she looked like she was just so
She was
happy.
so happy. She had Wiz there on the pink
Yeah.
carpet. That's a new couple. I'm like, okay, girl, with your boo. I
Bring
like
it on.
it.
He shows up with no shirt.
Me too.
always.
I like it. But shout out to all the women making it happen.
Yeah.
That's what we're all
Yeah.
about here. I love that. I
Yeah.
like to see them win. So now that we're, you know, in line with current events,
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret, but let's talk about something a little bit more serious. We obviously film here in LA, downtown. Luckily, we were not affected by the current
Right.
fires that are affecting everybody else in Malibu and other places. How do you guys feel about that?
You know, it's scary, the day and age that we live in, where we're having these type of natural disasters, and it's almost like just disheartening to feel like our efforts sometimes are futile. You know, sometimes it's disheartening, but I have seen a lot of people reaching out and saying, hey, you can stay with me, doing pet rescues and really jumping in there. But it's funny because, you know, the fires went to the 118
Yes.
today, and our studio is right off the next exit.
jeez.
So we've been watching the news
Yeah.
this morning, my husband and I, because we're just trying to make sure it does not go past that point. And it's just scary to think that we might be a part
of it.
Yeah, you know, the reality is we could lose everything. We've invested so much money
Right.
into this place, and people are losing their homes. So it's even more
Right.
their personal items, the things that
Memories.
are irreplaceable. That's crazy to me. It's insane. So I don't know. It's a really scary time, I think, right now, and the fact that they're just jumping all over the place. Isn't that crazy?
I know, it's wild.
I want to reel it back. So, LaMyias, I know you've been on camera. I mean,
Yeah.
probably the first whole half of your career.
Yes.
Life.
So, do you have any tips for our listeners as far as, well, you're also on the other end now, so
Yeah.
maybe your tips have evolved, but do you have any tips for being on camera, whether it's modeling, acting?
Absolutely. I think what you said about knowing how to do your own makeup is like very vital. Making it easy for them to hire you. You know, being on point, being knowledgeable about your craft. These are definitely things that are going to advance you and put you ahead of somebody else that might be prettier than you or whatever in their opinion. It's like knowing your craft, going hard for it, and having those little extra things like your model kit, like knowing how to do your makeup. If all else fails, baby, don't worry. I'm going to throw myself up there. Yeah. And I think, you know, I learned that very young, like getting my makeup done. I was like, oh, this works here, and you know what works best for you anyways. But yeah, I think being prepared and educated on your craft is like two major things that have helped me in my career.
And maybe knowing your client or the job before you get into it.
That's
Speaking
what I'm
of
saying,
being
educating,
prepared.
exactly, educating yourself on the gig. Know what you're getting into. Know what their likes are. Like when I do auditions for major projects, I look at the director. I want to see what they've directed. I want to see their lighting. What types of things are they into? It's definitely like a whole deep thing. I want to know what other things have these producers done, so I can get an idea and a gauge on what their mood is going to be like when I walk in that room. I kind of already am ahead of the game. I know a little bit about you.
For sure.
You might know nothing about me, but I already know what you like, so I done already brought out the Gouda cheese, baby, and whatever it is that you
Bible,
like.
we definitely touch on that, ladies. We definitely touch on all that. Oh, my gosh, yes. We talked about this. Remember, show up. Know your client. You got to. Speaking of the Gouda cheese, you got to know those little minuscule details that make a difference in your experience.
I think a lot of people forget to read the role description.
Sure.
Too. Like it's so important to go in there, because if I know I'm taking portrait shots for an audition, I'm gonna make sure that I did a
your face
skincare,
is bomb.
Right.
You're glowing.
And you're ready from here on up.
Exactly.
It's all about
girl. Come on.
Yeah, but just in case, you got to be ready head to toe. Of course.
Yeah, but you can miss like little details in the role description. Like, okay, we want you in all black.
Right.
If you don't take the time to read that little paragraph, you might miss that. Right. So it's so important to do your research.
It is majorly vital, especially in this day and age. You have to do your research, or else you just setting yourself up to fail.
For failure.
Yeah.
How would you handle working out? What would you say? Like, you need to stay pretty healthy.
This is what I say about working out. And people get mad at me, because I feel like it is a show of character. It's more than just about your body. It's more than just about vanity.
It's so
it
true.
really shows a lot about your work ethic and your discipline. Namely, number one, your discipline. So for me, it's more than I get frustrated when my friends don't want to like work out and stuff. I'd be like, bruh,
you're not.
You're like, so you ain't trying to get better.
We have to do this because it makes us better. Period. And it's not about being Judge Judy. Okay, if you sometimes I like to be thick, sometimes I like to be thin. Whatever.
And if you're really, really working, you need that energy from working out.
Right.
You have to feel your best.
How do these models wait? This is I work with a lot of models that just getting by on a whim, or do you feel like nowadays it's like definitely one of those things that you can't get away with?
If you want longevity, I feel and I've seen and I've experienced, more longevity with people that are prepared and healthy and, maybe not drinking every day, eating, a certain way. Like,
it's a model thing. I know so many models that are like, all right, I went to yoga. I did hot yoga this morning. And then by 9 p.m., they're like, in the bathroom of like the Abbey, doing some crazy stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to bed.
I think it's definitely trendier to work out too, but I'm happy about that trend. I think it's good. If you want to be in the gym for the gram, make sure you're at least getting in a mile.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, make it cute.
I just feel like it's important. It's important for your lifestyle. Anything that you want takes discipline. Who wants to go hurt your body to make it look cuter? Nobody. But it's the discipline. Any project that you want to put out, any role you want to take on, it's all going to require discipline, period. And it's the easiest form of discipline.
For sure.
Mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
a big one.
It's a great, reset.
Yeah.
Ooh, how do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with rejection, LaMyias? Because I feel like in this industry,
it's all rejection.
Speaking of mental health,
speaking of breakdowns,
I would say my first 2 years here in Hollywood, I was very insecure and I didn't really know who I was.
Yeah.
So when people would tell me, like, I was told you're too fat, you're too old, you're too this, I swear to God.
That is crazy. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me. Here, people, their ideas are so subjective. And, I think that's an issue that a lot of models and new entertainers run into, really not being okay with just being themselves and comparing themselves to all the IG models and, I think
which are photoshopped.
Right.
Yeah, it's called Facetune, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a whole nother skill.
But you, as a model, know that. You know it in the back of your mind, but you're still I want to look like that.
Right, when you're seeing like 1 million likes on somebody that you know and we all know is like, carbon copied or whatever, it's like, it definitely makes you feel some type of way.
Rejection.
But that's why it's important to, number one, know who you are, surround yourself around people who encourage who you are, not who they, project you or want you to be. I definitely think surrounding yourself in LA, who you keep around is a major, major important key to your success. The type of energy that you allow, there's a lot of people who feel like because they couldn't do it, you can't do it. You don't need that type of energy around. So definitely the company that you keep is one of the golden rules for, I think, this industry,
Dealing with rejection,
dealing with
making sure your people uplift you and
know
what
sure
you
have
want.
A support system, and then two, not comparing. I mean, it's hard to say that, but it's so true. You find the things about yourself that you like and be like, baby, nobody can match these eyelashes, honey. Whatever.
Right?
Exactly. You just got to walk in, and I think having a foundation outside of just the vanity of it all. I know for me what saved my life is having a calling and knowing that my message to this world and my contribution is to help young women in many different ways.
Yeah.
And for me, that drives everything that I do. So it makes everything that I do so much easier because I don't care as much about the roles maybe that I'm not getting that somebody else is getting. It's a lot easier to deal with that rejection because I'm not doing it for that purpose. I have something that's going to be driven and something that's going to go no matter what role I get, no matter what role I don't get. And I think having purpose in your life
perfect.
is the difference. And I think after these 2 years, you figured out something that you want to be a part of, the contribution that you want to make to society, and that's what's giving you that level ground that no matter on your good day or best day, you're gorgeous. It doesn't matter, but you might not feel it that day or whatever. It supports you through all of that,
Totally.
Yeah,
It's
and I
an
think that plays into
Yeah.
the mental health thing too, because at the end of the day, I know I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I am very spiritual.
Yeah.
So, I keep God in my life a lot, and I just know what's meant for me is for me.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. That's such a good girl. I just went through that. Like I'm up for two really big things right now, and I got down on myself because I came out of the audition and I didn't execute the one like the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
I literally cried in my car because I've been wanting something big, and I've been not even just wanting, I've been believing in my heart, and I know I'm like on the brink.
That's manifesting.
And so exactly, and I've seen it, and I've been here before. I was putting all this pressure on myself, and I came out the audition. I cried because I felt like I didn't give. I didn't leave it all in there.
That's the worst.
I didn't have, that feeling of just like, I don't know what I did. It was bliss. I just was in there and I did what I did. So I just cried in the car and I said, you know what, God, this is that point where I have to let it go. I have to stop trying to control this whole situation and realize that there's nothing I can do or not do in that room that will not give me this opportunity if you want me to have it, if it is mine.
Sure.
Period.
Sure.
And to that point, it's like, that has been such a season for me right now. I was preparing for that audition, preparing. And I still went in there and I fumbled the ball, but that's okay. Because guess what? I got a director's call.
There you
2
go.
days later, which was crazy. So I'm still.
You're like, okay.
So I was like, this is how it goes.
When you have purpose and you get rejected, I feel like you're able to take it as an opportunity and grow. Okay, why didn't I get that? I need to maybe, better my X, Y, and Z skills.
100%.
I think that's really the mentality you need to go into it, because rejection is going to happen. You're not going to get every single role. And that's just across the board.
I feel like every time I've been
industry.
rejected, I take it as a sign from God in the universe. Like, okay, that wasn't for me.
Yes.
Usually a bigger door opens. Sometimes it's just divine timing.
Exactly.
And it means the universe is preparing you for something bigger.
But this is so great what you guys are doing. Like, literally, this is the stuff that people need to hear.
Yeah.
The other side of it, they see a successful actress, model, whatever. They don't know that flip side and what it took for you guys to get here.
Right.
So this is I'm like so proud of you guys. I just have to just tell you guys I'm so proud of what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that I get to be a part of this.
We love you.
Thank you.
A wealth of knowledge, a plethora of knowledge.
Come through, queen.
Give it up for our first guest, LaMyias Good.
LaMyias Good. The Renaissance woman. Thank
Girl,
you.
The woman who
where's
does
my
it all.
horse?
Where's my It's coming in. Chris, can you get that?
Cabana boy,
Bring in the horse.
Well, next up we have Dawn Benjamin and some more surprise guests, so stay tuned.
If you're a model looking for one-on-one coaching from someone who's worked with the best of the best in the industry, visit my Instagram at @officialriosummers to learn more about Top Model Tuesday.
If you're a new model looking to take your career and portfolio to the next level, visit themodelexperience.net. This is your intro song, by the way. It's all about Don Benjamin, baby. Go ahead, let's hear it. It's never too early to freestyle.
But it is all about Don Benjamin, though.
Today it is. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our special guest, Don Benjamin.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
Good morning, make some noise.
Woo. Yes.
Good morning. It's crazy, it's noon, but I feel like it's like 8 in the morning.
It's morning.
Well, when you work for yourself, it's morning whenever,
Exactly.
you know?
True.
So we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of household names in the industry, there aren't many. You have a couple when it comes to, you know, guys.
Yep.
You've got like Tyson Beckford.
And then you got Donnie
Don
B.
Benjamin.
Hey,
Exactly.
Hey, that's a blessing.
It
Put
is.
my name next to Tyson, that's a blessing.
There it is.
You think of successful models, Don Benjamin definitely comes to the top of the list.
That's super dope. Thank y'all.
So you were on ANTM. Tell us about that.
Model jail.
That's what I've heard.
It was like it was fun. You know, we didn't have a lot of freedom. They really try to put the pressure on you to get the stressful, you know, all the reactions to make people fight and whatnot. But it was a good experience working with Tyra, learning from Tyra. She wasn't around as much as I liked, but when she was around, I made sure to pick her brain and get not only the modeling tips, but the business tips, because she's such a huge businesswoman. So it was a good experience overall, minus like me being one of the oldest in the house.
Yeah.
And everybody was like kids, and I was like trying to use this opportunity to just grow in my life, and they were like, reality TV, let's hook up, let's fight, let's, you know?
Yeah.
So
Wait,
it was
how
cool.
old were you when you were on ANTM?
I was 25 when I did it,
And you were the oldest?
and I was the oldest. Everybody else
Wow.
was like 20.
That's
A
a
couple
big
of them were
difference.
21, 22. There was like one other dude that was my age. And so,
Amazing.
yeah, we were like the oldest in the house, and it was just the energy was.
Well, you know you're not the only top model here, right?
You were on Top Model too?
Yeah.
What cycle?
24.
24? Oh, that was the latest one?
Yeah.
That was I feel like the dopest one. How was
You
it?
know what? Honestly, as a third party perspective, I try to like remove myself, and I think it was a great season, well put together, but I agree with you. It was kind of like jail.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm supposed to be spilling tea like that.
I
but it
know.
does
No, you
feel
can't. You
like
can't.
it.
No, this is a safe house. This is a safe house.
Nah.
To be honest, I don't even remember you from America's Next Top Model. I mean, I remember you on it, but I feel like you've done so much since then that
Yeah.
that's not even something that comes to my mind when I think of you anymore.
Well, when I was on it, I used to just kind of play the background.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's good though.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was a good jump off for you?
it was. I tell people all the time, it's an opportunity that you have to use for your advantage. You can't let
sure.
it like build you. Like a lot of people don't go far off Top Model because they think it's gonna bring opportunities
sure.
to them, but you have to kind of go out and like kind of
Get it.
I hate to be like a name thrower, but you kind of have to throw the little name
You do,
to get where you
for
want to
sure.
go with it. So
Do you feel like you had that stigma though of I was on America's Next Top Model? Like sometimes casting directors
Yeah.
will kind of side eye you. Like, have you had experiences with that at all?
Well,
Or do you find that it benefits you?
The funny thing is, I feel like it was different with guys.
Mm.
You know, like for girls, that was a stigma for a lot of girls. For the guys, it was like a new thing to where it was like, oh, they got guys on. Like a lot of people didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like when I went to my agency and I was like, yeah, I was just on Top Model. They were like, there were guys on it. Like they didn't know. So I feel like for a guy, it didn't really do nothing.
Okay.
It honestly helped me. Like in the industry, like, oh, that's dope.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you guys filmed here, and are you a local? You live here in LA?
Well, I live here. I'm from Minnesota,
You're from Minnesota. Okay.
but I've been living
I
here
saw
for
you at the
12
Laker
years.
game doing that
Okay.
jersey thing, by the way.
Oh, you saw it? Did you see the video though? What we did afterwards?
Yeah.
That's dope. So are you in New York at all ever for work? I mean, I know that's like a hot hub
Yeah.
for modeling. Okay, so in your honest opinion, I know I have my opinion, but I'm biased though because I'm a New Yorker. LA or New York for work? Personal?
Well, New York, there's more. I feel like high fashion, runway, like it's more like that out there, as to where LA is more commercial.
Okay, that makes
So-
sense. So it's like runway as
So
opposed to like film.
honestly, LA, there's more money.
Interesting.
Because a lot of the gigs in New York, it's like it's great for your resume,
Right.
it's great for your portfolio, it's great brands, but they don't pay as much as like commercial work pays. So
Yeah.
So more on camera, you would say for LA.
yeah, and like Yeah, like the campaigns, like the Target stuff.
Sure.
And, you know, like LA is like
The residuals.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love New York vibe.
Yeah.
Like you could dress better out there, like the energy, like people are on the move.
Yeah.
It's no BS.
Right.
LA though, it's like the weather, like you get the good weather. It's just, I love both worlds. It's like
I feel that.
pros and cons to
For
each.
sure.
But definitely
For
the
sure.
commercial is more money.
For sure.
So speaking of being on camera, all of our listeners, or a majority of our listeners, I would say, are obviously models, but a lot of them are just kind of getting started. New portfolios, kind of like this is day one for them. Do you have any major pointers or on-camera tips that you could share with our listeners?
On-camera tips, I feel like you just gotta, it takes time to get comfortable with your body. You know, at first I didn't really know how to pose. It was awkward. I didn't know what to do with my hands. Posture. Tyra used to always get on me about posture because, like, a lot of guys, we slump over, and like with modeling, you have to make sure your posture. So I tell people, like, breathe in, like when you take a deep breath, like it automatically makes you kind of stretch your body out. And so, like, a lot of times before takes, like, I'll take a deep breath in, and then it makes me automatically kind of straighten my back up. But I really tell people all the time, like, practice in the mirror, like.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
all, like, because that way you can get comfortable with yourself,
Yeah.
and you can see what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah.
What you're working with.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
used to always, even on top models, sometimes they get us, we'd be in the mirror, like working on poses, seeing what works, what doesn't,
Yeah.
get comfortable with your body.
So basically, you're saying think tall, and the mirror is your best friend.
For sure, yes.
Yeah, that's
you
something.
know, you know.
See?
Yeah.
See, I be telling my models that all the
Yeah,
time.
you know.
Think tall, breathe through it, you know, because I think a lot of people forget to breathe when they're posing, whether it's for runway or through a photo shoot. It's like,
Yeah, like you hold your breath. You're still,
I'm definitely guilty of doing that, even selfies
Same.
included.
And see, girls have it harder than guys. Like, girls got to do all
have to hit
kinds
those
of crazy
angles.
poses, angles.
Gotta
Like,
hit
guys, you know, we could just look tough, stand straight, look
Is
off
it like
in
a
the
hand
distance.
motion? It's like a gesture or
Not
something.
even when modeling, like, you keep your hands down,
Yeah.
but you look off in the distance. It's not a lot of movement, you know? If we do too much movement, it turns into, like, the androgynous. What is androgynous? type?
yeah.
You know,
so hot right
so
now.
it's like a whole different vibe. So the girls really have more pressure to like actually model, I guess. Like we kind of are like, they
No
used to always
pressure.
tell us we're like the mannequins. Like we just have to look
Just stand there
good
and
while
look
the
cute.
girls do their thing.
Okay, look at Don Benjamin shouting out the girls.
Yeah, for real.
The women in the world.
Yes.
Okay.
I love
so,
it.
Don, what are your favorite perks of modeling? I know I have mine, but
Oh man, free
so many.
clothes.
Yes.
The free clothes. I mean, I came from nothing, so like to get free clothes is amazing. Traveling.
Yeah.
When I was single, being around all the beautiful women all the time was like.
And what do you do now, Donnie B?
I mean, now I look at the ceiling the whole time. Like,
Good answer.
Exactly. I like that. Yes.
yeah, but the perks of modeling, I mean, definitely traveling. I've seen so many dope places in the world off it.
what was your favorite?
Barcelona is one of my favorites.
Oh, same.
She just got
I
back.
love
Oh,
Barcelona.
amazing.
It's one of my
Did you go to
favorite
Madrid
cities.
or Ibiza?
I didn't go to Madrid or Ibiza, but
Barcelona's
Barcelona was
beautiful.
dope.
Yeah.
For sure.
So earlier you mentioned like the business of modeling, which is definitely something we want to, talk about because in modeling, I think people forget how much of a business it is, and in the end, you're the
Yeah.
business. So, how do you run your business? How do you kind of manage the people that you work with, your time, and what's your day to day?
well, I usually map out like my week, like if I'm gonna be doing music more this week or modeling or acting. But I usually try to at least have a couple of photo shoots each week. But yeah, time is really key. Like you have to, like me, I don't really have to practice it no more. But at first I would have to like put a couple hours a day to really practice and work on poses and like research, like go on Google and see what models are like doing that are working. And like it was actually like a time commitment. Now you just have to like really be on it. Like you can't just do like a shoot a month.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
and
not
think
enough.
that you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it puts the pressure because there's so many more models getting on now. And as aware they used to have like the model searches where you would have to go in person. Now like these agencies just go looking on Instagram all day, and they can just
Yeah,
find
for sure.
they can find models to replace working models so easy that'll do it for a cheaper rate.
So with all that competition, do you feel like modeling is lucrative? Like, do you feel like, you know, you've made an investment in this? Do you feel like you're getting paid like adequate amount of money? Like you can survive off of it?
Well, the funny thing is, the more money I make, the more ways I find to spend money.
I know how that works.
The more expensive.
I need, you know.
Money, no
So
problems.
one year I make 100,000, and next year I'm like, yo, 100,000 ain't cutting. I need
Right.
2, and
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
so
Of
on.
course.
And
Of
2
course.
turns to 4, and so I mean, you can make good money in modeling for sure, but it takes time. A lot of people think they're just gonna come in and make good money off modeling. Like, you have to build your name, because a lot of times starting out it's not the best money.
Right.
Like, a lot of models I know work at clubs, they work as bartenders, they work as doormen. Like, it's not enough to
Yeah.
pay their bills until you really establish your name
For sure.
to where you're getting some of the higher paid gigs and where you can demand a higher rate.
Right.
Right, which I think plays into relevancy. You know, in today's sped up world with social media, it's so important to remain relevant. How do you remain relevant?
Well, luckily my social media
It's popping.
is popping.
Right, but that takes some work to
That
like
takes
have
work.
it popping.
Especially nowadays, like when I got my social media popping, it was like around the time where the popular page was like really the popular page, you know, like
Yes.
your picture had to be popping to get
Yeah.
on there, and so
Yeah, for
I would
sure.
like be in my comments like going back and forth with every follower to create that engagement on
Sure.
my picture, and then
That's
it would shoot my
important.
pictures
So
to the popular
important.
page. And so it was getting me a lot of followers because I was engaged. Nowadays, like, the algorithm is so off that it's harder to get followers.
But you
now.
didn't go into it blind. It's like you had a strategy. You
strategy.
really handled it
That's
like
business.
a business.
I
Yeah.
had, I had a strategy and it worked well.
Nice.
Nowadays, I don't know. I try to tell people all the time, you have to figure out what works now. I don't really know
Yeah.
what works now.
I'm done with that,
'cause I
okay?
be trying certain things, but it is different. So, but to stay relevant is definitely social media. I try to put myself around like people that are doing better than me. You
Always.
know,
For sure.
So that way,
Always.
like I'm kind of getting off their energy, feeding off their energy.
You have to be your
Perfectionist way
number
of
one
thinking.
critic. I feel
Yeah.
like
For
when
sure.
you're looking at your photos, when you're looking at your Instagram, I feel like you really have to be your ultimate critic.
I'm super hard on myself, like
Yeah.
with everything. I'm like, that photo shoot's trash.
Trash.
It's not working. I'm about to move back to Minnesota.
I think that too. All
yeah,
the time.
I think we all do. It's like,
But it's
What was
good
that?
though. I think it pushes you to just be better. If you get content, then what's the point?
Exactly. I
Complacency.
feel like people like us are never really happy.
I mean, look at like the Diddy's
Where
of
we're
the
at.
world, and like
Yeah.
you know, like
Right.
they're coming up on billions of dollars,
Yeah.
and he's not
Still not
content.
enough.
Like,
Yeah.
you want more.
It's
Like
never
that-
gonna be
that
enough.
Hunger for more is
Yeah.
always there.
So, advice for your 24-year-old self. Anything you can
Oh man, put the tequila down.
Yes, I like that.
Speaking of tequila, we have some mimosas.
Oh,
We
wow.
do have our wonderful
Goodness.
Cabana Boy Chris. Would you like a
I stay away
mimosa?
from liquor now.
Good.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have some green
have green
juice on
juice?
deck.
I stay away.
good advice. I'm 24. You guys hear that? 24-year-olds
I
listening?
drink. I used to drink so much. I wake up hurting some days.
Yeah.
Now. It's rough. But
That doesn't look good
I
on
think,
camera.
24. That was right before I went on Top Model, and the funny thing is, right before I went on Top Model, I was having like a midlife crisis at 24 because I was living off my girlfriend at the time. She was like more successful than me, and I was struggling, and I was trying to like keep up, and it was like the pressure of being a man, and I felt like I was getting old, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like nothing's happening for me. I'm broke. I'm struggling. And so I would tell myself, like, be patient. Your time's coming. Just stay at it. Because a lot of times we'll give up right before something big happens for us.
Sure.
Before the
That's so
breakthrough.
true.
Yeah,
For
before
sure.
the breakthrough. And luckily I didn't give up, but I almost did. Like, there were so many times where I almost gave up. And I know a lot of people that gave up at around 24.
Yeah.
Because we think in
Yeah.
our mind, like, 24,
You're old. I
25,
think mid-20s.
it's about to be a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Not realizing that a lot of people in the industry didn't even really get their
So
breaks
young.
until they were like 30, like
Right.
True.
mid
It's so
30.
true.
Like,
Yeah, it's
if you
true.
look at it, like a lot of people, like other than a slight few, a lot of people it's like later 20s, early 30s
Mm-hmm.
before they really get their breaks. So It's just time.
Looking
and
forward
I
patience.
think everyone has a breakdown around that time, around that age. I had mine too.
It's weird, right?
I was like, yeah, got to move back to New Mexico, packing it up. Here I go. Yeah, for sure.
24 is like, we feel like that's at like
that's
50s
it.
or
Yeah,
something.
it's
I don't
true.
know, y'all. I'm feeling good at 24.
You feel good?
I feel- I feel
you're
like I still
doing
have
good
a
for
way to
yourself.
go,
You were on the
but-
show, you know, you're beautiful.
That's what people say about
you.
you.
Yeah. I was struggling at 24. I was tired. I was like, I'm tired of eating ramen noodle soup.
I just had ramen noodles last night too. Low-key.
By choice, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually,
see, you
I
good.
do love some ramen noodles.
See,
I'm
mine
not
was
gonna
no
lie.
choice. That was it. $1.50 in the bank account.
Don, what do you think the number one thing models do like wrong? You know, there's so many aspiring models out here. You know, we work with them all the time. What do you think? What do you see? Like, that was kind of weird, or, ooh, that was rookie. What's like the number one thing that you see that models do wrong?
I think what I see a lot of is like models putting out any pictures they get, like not being like hard on themselves with their pictures. You know, we get excited and sometimes we think that we killed it, but you have to really like take a step back from yourself and look at a shoot like, is this the best version of myself? Or is it not? Because I see a lot of models who will put out just every picture from a photo shoot. And there might be a couple good ones, but sometimes it's not the best. And so I think being like more picky with your shoots is better. Like I would rather, like an agent once told me when I went and they said, I'd rather you just come in with no pictures than showing me like mediocre pictures because it's not going to sell you the best.
And you
know?
can't go back. I feel like once you expose all these, you know,
Well,
low quality photos.
Like, it may not
like,
be that you were a bad model, but if the photo shoot makes you look like you're not the best, then if they're trying to sell that to a client, the client's going to be like, this model isn't the best. You know, we need to get somebody better. And it may not have been you. It may have been like the editing or the photographer didn't get the best angles of you or whatever the case.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing is I see models where I'm like, damn, that's dope. And then I'll go and look and I'm like, oh, well, why'd they post that?
Right.
And I've done it myself sometimes, and I'll have to step back and be like, what was I thinking? That was horrible. So I think that's the biggest thing I would say is be careful with what you show the world.
Yeah.
To represent yourself, because you have to represent yourself the best way.
You got to be the total package,
Yeah,
you know?
You got to sell yourself. You
Totally.
want Calvin Klein, but you submit and pay less. It's not going to work.
Speaking of total package, what percentage do you think is luck, looks, and brains?
In this industry,
Yeah.
it's a lot of like timing, a lot of I mean luck is key, but I feel like luck is really like preparation meeting timing.
Sure.
You know, so I feel like you got to be smart, you got to have the brains and like really understand how to take it as a business. I feel like it's like all those go into one.
Yeah.
Like it's not one that overshines the other, but it's a business. So if you don't have no business mindset, it's going to be hard to really succeed. You're going to get taken advantage of. They're going to, somebody's going to be on the same shoot as you getting $1,000, you're getting $150
Exactly.
because your business mindset wasn't there. So I think it all plays into each other.
Yeah, total package for sure.
So what projects do you have coming up? Anything that we can tune into music-wise or?
I'm working on a new music project. I'm so hard on myself every time I hear a record that I like. And like after I listen to it for a week, I'm like, nah, I could do better. But I have a few records I like that I'm going to put out probably the top of the year.
Nice.
Because this year is going by fast.
It's
gone.
gone.
It's over.
It's gone.
Like,
It's a wrap.
whoa. So top of the year, new music. I have a TV show that I shot.
Nice.
That I wrote. I wrote it with my partner. We shot the pilot. We've been pitching the network.
Yes.
So
We
Love
watch all your
that.
videos on Instagram, on YouTube.
word, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So it's like a dramedy, but it's all scripted. So I'm trying to get that sold. Got a couple networks interested. Got
Hulu.
Netflix.
Hulu, I'm not even gonna put Hulu on blast, but they turned this one down. But I got another one, possibly with them that I'm working on with Tay Diggs.
Nice.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just trying to get the next level of my life with
Always.
everything. Just trying to get on TV again. You know,
Same.
Ain't nothing like that. Ain't nothing like that TV life.
Hey, nothing like it.
Yeah, I did Scare Famous last year. I didn't do a TV show this year.
That's right.
So next year I got to get back on TV, whether it's scripted or unscripted.
Same.
Preferably scripted. That's the direction I'm heading.
What's your dream show? Like, what show would you love to be on?
One of my own that I'm pitching.
Good answer. That's a business mind, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, the funny thing is, like, I don't know if I'm discriminating or whatever, but like, I feel like it's so hard for light-skinned black males to get like good TV, like good acting roles. Okay. Like, no shade, like, of course there's Shamars and everything, but it's limited as to far as like a lot of my dark-skinned friends are constantly booking roles, and it's how America perceives a black male. Like, the rest of America, when they think black men, they think like a darker-skinned black man. So I've been like at a point to where it's like every time I'm up for a role and I kill it, and they're like, "Yo, you killed it. We're on hold." It ends up going to like a darker skin, and they're like, "That was the look that we needed for this role." And so that's why I've been like, well, let me write my own roles and do stuff that I see for myself that I can show the world for myself. Like, not hating, like,
no, that's interesting. But usually the tables are turned. Rio and I have this conversation all the time.
We do
about being light skinned. Yeah, light skinned. Black women.
Yeah, for women it's
mixed.
Opposite.
Right.
And then men, it's like if you look at TV and movies, a lot of the black guys are like
it's
darker.
So true.
There's not that many light skinned black guys. So
it's so true.
So I've been like trying to figure out how I can write my own roles to like sell myself. So that's what I've been on.
Genius.
I'm like, fuck, they keep taking my role.
It's hard out here
racially ambiguous
for light skin.
But it's not like that. It's cool, but like the actors that are getting the roles are good actors. So at least it's
no shade. No shade
at all. But it's just that's where I've been at in my career, trying to get on as an actor.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can totally relate. You know, I walk into a room and I'll be called in for something like racially ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like that's the role for whatever. And literally, I walk in, there's so many different kinds of people. I can tell right away. They have no idea what they want.
They don't know what they want. Yeah.
Or for me, I the last TV project that I had, it was, oh, you're only the star because you are light skinned. So it's like, we can't win. You know what I mean?
I feel like this industry, they don't know what they want. That's
they don't know what they want.
You just got to keep doing your thing.
Right.
Try to, like, right now we have an opportunity to, like, do our own thing, like, be our own creators, our own bosses. So you really have to take advantage of that. Like, there's so many different networks. There's digital stuff you can do, shows on YouTube yourself, and they get picked up by networks. So, like, people really just have to take advantage of that, like modeling. Even with models, like, you don't really need an agency like you did before. You know, like, if you figure out how to get yourself some notoriety on social media, the agencies will come look, and the brands hit you directly now. And
cut out the
you don't
middleman.
got to pay that percentage of your own. So, you know, like, right now is just a great time to really take advantage of being your own boss.
Yeah. To be a successful model, I think that you have to have your hands in a couple of different avenues.
Definitely,
you got to know how to do a few different things.
Yeah.
Modeling is like a start, I feel like, to what you really want to do in life. Like, it's cool, unless, like, you're one of the, like, what is it, like 1% that ends up being like the huge models that get like $1 million
campaigns.
Like the Giselles and the $1 million campaigns. Like, it's not a lot. Like, everybody thinks they're gonna be a model and then do that. Which is like, a lot of them are doing e-com all day, every day, where it's like you're trying on 100 different outfits. You might get like $500 for the day. You know what I'm saying? Your skin is chapped by the time you get home. Like, they don't tell you about that. Like,
tell it.
At one point, I got so tired of doing e-com, I was going home and just be naked all day. Cause I was tired of
I'm trying to put it on clothes.
Like,
no
I'm
more.
tired of wearing clothes. Like, I wore so many outfits today. Like, why'd I wear 100 different outfits today?
Ooh, I know your girlfriend loved that.
She's like, that's fine. No. That's when I was single. I was single doing e-com. So I was just at home naked for no reason.
Ladies, no reason.
Like, dang. Save me.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, Dom. We'll see you soon at our fashion show. If you're going to be stopping by.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be there. Yep.
Cool.
December
Winter fashion
15th.
show. Yeah.
December 15th?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
That's
Can't
all
wait.
right.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Let's go.
It's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Model Experience Podcast, live from the Model House.
And that's a wrap.